This was probably one of the biggest things that I've learned throughout this weight loss journey. And by understanding and implementing this is when I really saw that weight drop. I really want you to absorb the 20 minutes that I'm gonna give you today so that you can save yourself 2 years, because it took me 2 years to figure this out. There's an interesting point about humans, and this principle literally changed my life. In this video, I'll share you everything that I've learned to help you finally lose the weight, keep it off, and get to your goal. Because this was me 5 years ago, and then this is me now. Maybe you're someone who's been wanting to start losing weight this week. You try and then you mess up and then you tell yourself, you know what, I'll just do it again tomorrow. But it's been 6 months since you've said that and you're still stuck in the same place. Or maybe you just feel hopeless because you've tried every single diet out there and maybe it actually worked and you lost some weight, but then you just gained the same weight back next month. And then you're still stuck in the same place. Then this video is for you, because I gained 30 pounds in just 3 months and it took me 2 years to finally lose all the weight and become a better, fitter version of myself. I was in a really bad cycle of trying to lose weight, only to slip back into bad habits and actually gain that weight back. And it felt really, really discouraging because it just felt like my hard work was for nothing. I realized it's probably not just me, so I decided to analyze everything that I did in the past 2 years and summarize it in this jam-packed video. I really want you to absorb the 20 minutes that I'm gonna give you today so that you can save yourself 2 years, because it took me 2 years to figure this out. And I want you to learn from my mistakes so that you can save yourself time. I do want to say a disclaimer that this is all subjective and based on my own personal experience. I am not a medical professional and this is not medical advice. Hey, it's Drae, and on its channel, we strive to become better human beings every single day. Our goal here is to help you feel heard, supported, empowered to become your best self, one human being at a time. So if that resonates with you, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Let's get back to it. So throughout this journey, I have tried everything. I tried keto, I tried fasting, I looked into being vegan. There's probably very little about fitness and health that I haven't researched about or was trying to do, but it took me 2 years to become the healthiest version of myself and actually sustain that. But I didn't see that happen until I implemented these 6 things that we're going to be talking about today. My goal here is to help you move closer to your goal and really be crystal clear on what you need to do to get to that goal. No more being stuck in the hamster wheel and no more feeling hopeless. Number 1, focus on the identity and not the goals. If your goals look like I want to lose 15 pounds or I want to eat healthier, then that's the reason why you are stuck. I remember that I used to pressure myself into getting these goals. Oh, I want to lose 15 pounds. I would promise myself XYZ, and I kept failing over and over again. It kind of drove me a little crazy because I just didn't understand why I couldn't stay consistent and why it was so hard to incorporate these healthy habits. I realized it's because the identity I have wasn't conducive to produce the results that I wanted to see. Results like losing 15 pounds or eating healthier are actions produced by your identity. Think of a garden. If you're trying to grow mango trees but you only have tomato seeds, you plant those, then don't expect any mangoes to actually grow in your garden because you don't have the needed ingredient to grow that. Similarly, you can't expect yourself to lose 15 pounds so effortlessly if your identity is not of a healthy, active person, which is the foundation that you need to work on to create that type of result. Instead of focusing on goals like, oh, I want to lose 15 pounds, focus on the person you need to become to produce that type of result effortlessly. Output goals are essentially the specific measurable results you want to achieve. So in fitness, an output goal looks like, I want to increase my max rep, I want to lose 15 pounds, I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle, I want to run a marathon. Those are all output goals. Losing weight is essentially an output goal too. And the problem here is it doesn't really give you direction on how to do that. It just gets you hyper-fixated on the idea that you need to lose weight, and then that's all that you obsess over. And maybe it's gonna work in the short term and you're gonna lose like a couple pounds here and there, but it's definitely not sustainable for the long term. It also gets you discouraged because if you want to lose 15 pounds and you end up just losing 5, then you'll just get discouraged and be like, you know what, why am I even trying? So instead, focus on the type of person that you need to be in order to get that result or manifest that result. If you're wanting to lose weight, then think about what an active, healthy person would be. What are those characteristics? What are their behaviors? And how can you instill those behaviors within yourself? When I was in my journey, I actually wrote down a couple of traits and characteristics that I want to build within myself, and it was grit, resilience, and discipline. So based on that is how, for example, can I build more discipline within my life? Well, discipline, we all know, is doing the things that suck. And even if you feel shitty at the moment, you still do it. That is building discipline within your life. If you wake up 5 a.m. today, even if you're tired, you actually still went to the gym, then take that moment to recognize that that is a huge win. Like, oh wow, like I actually went to the gym even if I feel shitty today. If you're building that trait within yourself, then it makes losing that 15 pounds way easier for you. Do that for all the traits that you want to actually build within yourself, then you'll see that the goal is so much easier to execute and achieve because you're focusing on the identity of the person you have to become. And if you're still having a hard time doing that, then this one actually worked for me as well, is use someone else as a reference so that you can understand how to make decisions. If you're not the person that is a morning person or someone who lives an active lifestyle, then think of someone that you admire and respect that has those traits. So now let's just say you have a really, really hard week. You wake up and you're like, you know what? Should I even go to the gym? Think about that reference person in your head and say, what would The Rock do? Or what would this person that I really look up to do? Would they still go to the gym? And I know that you know the answer to that question, but essentially that is what I would do if I were you, is to create a reference picture and ask yourself if this person would do the same thing. That way you have a clear idea of what the habits you need to be creating to make this result so much more effortless for you. One more thing is to focus on what you can control instead of what you can't control. Humans, we like to focus on end results. So losing 15 pounds, believe it or not, is actually outside of your control. There's a lot of factors that can affect weight loss, and focusing on just the weight on the scale can really affect your motivation. So instead, focus on what you can control, the behaviors you can put every single day to reach that goal. And this is what we call input goals. An input goal is essentially the effort that you put in every single day to reach an output goal. This is something that is more actionable and a lot more within your control. Here's some examples of how you can shift an output goal into input goals. Instead of saying, I want to get six-pack abs, say, I'm going to train abs twice a week. Instead of saying, I want to lose 15 pounds, say, I want to work out 3 times a week. Instead of saying, I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle, say, I'm going to eat at least 120 grams of protein a day. By focusing on the effort that you have to put every single day and the habits and the behaviors that are actually within your control, it makes these goals a lot more manageable and actionable for yourself. And you'll see that it's a lot easier to track your progress. Number 2, stop saying that you'll do it tomorrow. One of my biggest mistakes is expecting so much from myself if I haven't even built the habits to sustain that type of lifestyle. I am a struggling perfectionist, and that transferred into my diet, my workout routine, and how I viewed weight loss. Remember that perfection is not the way, it's actually in the way. I kept restarting my routine the next day, the next week, the next month, because I cared more about the perfect streak than actually tracking my progress. And truly understanding like why I missed that workout that day. Is it my sleep schedule? Is it because of a personal problem or something? And if you keep doing this, you are definitely going to fall in the same trap, and then 6 months pass by and you're still stuck in the same place. For me, at the start of every month, I'd be so motivated. I'd go to the gym and actually have like a perfect day. I would diligently track my progress, but then I would miss a workout, and then I would end up just deleting all of my tracked progress because it wasn't a perfect streak anymore. I just couldn't handle that one X on my calendar, and it sounds so silly right now, but it's a true problem. It's something I actually dealt with. But just know that data is actually so important, and it's part of the process as well, because then you can analyze what really happened there. If, for example, you missed a workout today, is it because you slept late yesterday? By tracking your habits, you get an understanding of what's preventing you from getting to your goal, and now you can use that to actually improve for next week. There's actually nothing that perfection can get you in this situation. It's just that ego boost and that feeling that you get for maintaining that perfect streak. Reshift and understand that failures and missing workouts are part of the process, and this is just more opportunities to learn more about yourself. If you ever miss a workout, then take some time to understand why and be realistic. See if there's anything you can actually do to prevent yourself from missing another one next week. If, for example, the reason why you missed your workout was because you got sick, then that's outside your control. It's not something that you can control, so give yourself grace. But if you missed a workout because you were just scrolling last night on Instagram until 3 a.m., then that's something within your control. Take note of that, sleep earlier today, and then you'll wake up refreshed tomorrow to go to the gym. Remove the all or nothing mentality that comes with this. And like I said, this is something that I struggle with as well. But perfectionism comes with the idea of a perfect streak. If you don't have the perfect streak, then why try at all? And this mentality will do more harm than good. Losing weight involves different things: your current diet, your exercise, your sleep schedule. Treat these as 3 separate things and not part of the same bucket. What I would do is, if I ever miss a workout, it would snowball into affecting my diet, diet and then suddenly I tell myself that I'm gonna start again tomorrow and then it affects my sleep schedule. So now I have a triple whammy in a day. Treat all of this as separate so that you can actually prevent yourself from having that all or nothing mentality of it's either I have a perfect streak of a day or I'll just start again tomorrow. Instead, really focus on, okay, if I miss a workout today, is there anything else, healthy habits that I actually can do today? Maybe I can just skip dessert for tonight and maybe I can sleep early. This will allow you to practice that progress is way more important than that perfect streak. It also gives you more chances in a day to win than lose. And who doesn't want winning? One other helpful tip is to divide your day in 3 quarters. Morning, afternoon, and then night. Now, instead of saying I'll start again tomorrow, you have 3 opportunities in a day to restart and actually move closer to your goal. If you missed your workout in the morning and you didn't have time in the afternoon, then ask yourself, can I sleep early tonight so I can actually wake up tomorrow to go to the gym in the morning? Your reset doesn't have to be every single day. By having these 3 quadrants, you get a chance to make up with a lost morning within the same day. Point number 3, the intention behind the action is important. I remember being so motivated to be healthy or go to the gym for the wrong reasons. I hated the way I look and I had this distortion that if I go back to my skinny self, then I'll feel confident, I'll live my best life, that people will like me, and I essentially just wanted to run from my current self. But running away, hatred, and fear, they all really plague your subconscious with a negative idea. What are you actually running away from? What are you scared of? For me, it was because of what people would say. What would people say if they see that I gained weight? I was scared of the judgment and criticism that would follow that. And that fear fueled me for the longest time. But here's the thing, you have to make this decision to better yourself and not because you're scared of what other people would say. An internal motivation is so much more powerful than an external motivation because people can tell you what to do, but you're actually not gonna do it until you're ready. Whenever I think about this, I actually think about butterflies. And when you think about butterflies, you think of caterpillars that turn into cocoons and then turn into these majestic, beautiful creatures. But what actually happens in the cocoon is there's basically a little hole that this butterfly has to crawl out of to actually start flying and becoming a butterfly. Sure, you can take out a knife and maybe help make that hole a little bit bigger so that the butterfly can actually fly out, but you're actually doing that butterfly a disservice by doing that because it's not ready yet. It has to build enough strength for it to pry itself open so when it comes out, it has the full strength it needs to fly. Same thing, you need to build enough strength and courage to do this for yourself and not for other people. And that's crucial to seeing a sustainable transformation. Which leads me to the second subpoint here. You can't hate yourself into becoming the best version of yourself. I've tried this and it doesn't work for you long term. I actually created an entire video regarding my body dysmorphia and how this type of motivation is actually going to do more harm. So I'll link it right here if you're interested. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and feeling disgusted with how I look, and I would squish my belly fat and complain about how I have so much fat instead of being grateful that I have a normal functioning body. There's so many people out there that wish for the same luxury that you and I take for granted. Like being healthy, have a set of arms, set of legs, being able to walk, see, hear, breathe, smell. It really pays off to focus more on being grateful instead of the things that you don't have. Health is really the only thing that you can't buy in this world. Maybe you can buy supplements or medicine to help your health, but you can't replace a poor heart. Even if you do so, there's a lot of complications that come with that. So if you have a normal functioning body, then just know that you already have a luxury that not all people have. You're given the default settings in all the right places, so it's now about just tweaking things here and there to finally lose the weight. There's an interesting point about humans, and this principle literally changed my life, guys. Not just by the weight, but instilling the habits that I want to keep and expelling the ones that are useless. Humans are simple. We run away from pain and run towards pleasure. If you're trying to hate yourself into being better, then you're creating a painful experience with this change that you're trying to manifest. And what's going to happen? Well, your mind and body is going to protect you from things that are painful. So that's why it's hard to be healthy, to lose the weight, to exercise or go to the gym, because the source of all of that is hate. But what if you actually change your thoughts into self-love? Instead of hating, reshift your mind into loving the person that you're becoming and being excited for this new identity. It's really the difference between running away from the person that you were and stepping into power with the person you want to become. If you're functioning from a place of self-love, then you will naturally let yourself heal. You'll naturally reach for the foods that fuel you, you, and you'll naturally love yourself and respect yourself. I talked about this in my other video, Rebrand and Level Up in 2025, which I'll link right here if you want to watch that. Think about it. Maybe you have a dog, you have someone that you really love. How do you treat things that you love? Well, you treat them with respect, you clean them, you spend time with them. This concept applies to you. When you really love yourself, then you will do things naturally because you love yourself. Point number 4, stop focusing on losing weight and start focusing on gaining strength. When I think about losing weight, I think about loser. No, but seriously. Why think of something you can lose when you can think about what you can gain from this new habit of yours? Going back to that pain and pleasure concept, how do you make a pleasurable experience for yourself so that your mind and body would just naturally run towards that? I truly believe that focusing on your fear and what you lack and the hatred that you feel, it's giving scarcity mindset. This will only discourage you and put you in such a negative state. And it's actually so exhausting because you're protecting rather than attracting. I don't know if you've seen any of the survival shows or the zombie shows when resources are very, very limited and then everyone goes crazy. They start stealing from each other, they start betraying each other, and just becomes very, very chaotic. Well, this is a very extreme example, but that's what I think about when I think about scarcity mindset. Whenever I focus on negative things, it just feels like I'm in a place of resistance, that I'm always constantly pushing, that the world is against me, and everything just feels so hard. It feels like I'm swimming against the current, and because our brains are wired to actually protect us from the pain, it will do just that and hinder us from actually having this breakthrough because it just feels so painful. But if you have an abundance mindset, it changes everything. If you do it out of love, if you have this excitement for the identity you're building, you get excited to go to the gym, you feel strong and focus on these good feelings, it really sets you at a different path. You create a more pleasurable experience associated with this breakthrough. And now your body and mind is just going to naturally move towards that. And this is exactly what I did to move away from a place of resistance and move towards something that is fulfilling for me, that I want to wake up at 5 a.m. to go gym because I feel so great and it's more natural for me to actually move towards this breakthrough. And it's just that, is how can you focus on things that you did do instead of what you didn't do? It will definitely be way more encouraging for you and limit feelings of, yeah, I'm not doing good enough. Word things and end things with a positive light. That's definitely something that really helped me. Okay. Let's just say, for example, you didn't work out today, which is the example we've used all throughout this video. If I didn't work out today 5 years ago, I would say something like this. Ugh, I didn't work out today. What the hell is wrong with me? Well, let's take a pause. What does this actually tell you? Well, the statement actually does nothing for you. It basically just tells you that you need fixing, and the word again just says that you've failed multiple times. So let's reframe that statement. Instead of saying that, say something like this. I didn't work out today, but I'm going to be sleeping early tonight so I can wake up refreshed and ready to hit the gym tomorrow morning. With a statement, it's more positive. You're still being realistic and understand that you actually didn't go, and you're not being delulu and saying, yeah, I did go when you didn't go, but it ends more of the actions. Like, what can I do now? You'd be surprised on how small tweaks like this can snowball into healthier habits over time. Point number 5, stop labeling foods as good and bad. This was probably one of the biggest things that I've learned throughout this weight loss journey. And by understanding and implementing this is when I really saw that weight drop. Have you ever told yourself, for example, I'll never eat chocolate again, and then you start obsessing over it? Yeah, same. Just know that this is actually normal and there's nothing wrong with you. It's called the forbidden fruit effect. Humans are essentially attracted to things that are scarce or something that is rare. When something is off limits, it feels like a challenge, and humans are motivated, excited with things that are off limits. So if you tell yourself that chocolate is off the table, then you're essentially telling your brain that this is a scarce commodity, something that is rare, which is why you keep obsessing over it. Not sure exactly why, but humans just want what they can't have. Everything in moderation really, really helps me. If I was craving something sweet, instead of eating an entire chocolate bar, I would actually make something healthier to replace that. I would make my own protein brownies and put just dark cocoa powder on it, so it just gives you that taste of chocolate without the additional sweeteners, and it's just a healthier alternative. Most important thing is it's still incorporating something that you love and enjoy. One thing I noticed too is if I tell myself I can't have something, I'll continue to obsess over it, and over time I'm gonna end up just binging and consuming too much at one time. My perfectionism really showed itself when I would have this extreme restriction where I can't have sugar and then end up just binging on sugar. I would create this unrealistic schedule for myself where I can't have ramen, I can't have processed foods, and I can only eat dry ass bland chicken. And I essentially removed everything that I enjoyed. Side note, extreme restriction is definitely not healthy, and if you have thoughts like this or you have the tendency to do this, then make sure to seek medical advice. Everything I say here is not professional professional advice, and again, is based on my subjective personal experience. I essentially created this unrealistic schedule for myself, and it really brought a lot of these yo-yo dieting where I would eat copious amounts at one time and then end up like eating too little. And then again, it's gonna go eating so much, eating little, so much, little. Yeah, it was mad. Before my new eating routine, I remember I would binge on copious amounts of food that I've labeled as bad before I started this perfect eating routine. And this was happening again and again and again. It was so exhausting. That's why now I don't distinguish things as good or bad food, because even good food can actually be bad for you in huge amounts. Instead, I focus more on the feeling this food gives me. I still eat ramen once in a blue moon, but I notice how I feel when I eat it. That I would feel groggy, that I'd feel a lot more snappy at times, and I just feel depleted. So that became my motivation to not eat ramen. I don't tell myself, oh, I could never eat ramen, because I know that I will binge on that if I ever tell myself that narrative. Now, whenever I walk through Walmart aisle and see it, I'm just like, I'll just eat it tomorrow, or I'll eat it next week. But the option to eat it when you want to is there, so it really relieves that pressure of wanting to eat it now. And that really changes my relationship with food than just saying it's totally off limits. Balance is really the key here. And for me, I had this misconception that healthy food should be bland. I remember meal prepping and I would have these like dry ass bland chicken, and I would just never look forward to my meals because of how disgusting they are. Cook something that you enjoy eating. We are trying to create a positive experience for this change. And who wants to torture themselves with dry ass chicken? Focus more on how these foods are actually making you feel, and it makes it a lot easier with what you're eating. Number 5 is set a realistic goal and be patient. This one seems like common sense, but it's so funny how we overcomplicate things. I used to pressure myself into doing it for 1 month. It was just focus. If I just restrict myself, if I just focus on eating healthy, then I would just be done with this problem and I'd just lose 30 pounds just like that. Yeah, this is the lie that I used to tell myself. And so I would put this pressure and I just keep failing. This would happen over and over again. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is hopeless. Well, no surprise there, because I haven't given myself enough time to actually build the habits. And I haven't accepted that these things take time, and it'd probably take more than a month to actually lose those 30 pounds. So I would just get on these extreme water fasts for a couple of days and lose the weight, but then it would just come back. And this would proceed for the next 6 months to a year. And I'll just end up actually gaining more weight and being stuck in the same place. If I just came to the terms of this restrictive eating, this all or nothing mentality doesn't actually work, then I could have actually resolved that problem a lot sooner. Be kind to yourself and understand what your limits are. Slow growth is way better than inconsistent fast growth. This is your time to repair your relationship with yourself and your relationship with food, and truly understand how to become a better, fitter, and healthier version of yourself. I'm really rooting for you guys, and thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.